A very good morning, guys. It is great to be with you here on a Monday. Anna Whiteley, delighted to introduce the Morning Drive team back together. Damon Hack, Paige McKenzie, and Robert Dameron. Now, we know we've got no studio AP for the moment in these conditions, but with social distancing going on, we will be bringing you Morning Drive from the comfort of our own homes, which I think we are all delighted about because it's been a crazy time for everyone. And the main thing is there is still a lot of golf news coming out every day. So we're going to dive into that now because the Olympics has been a real talking point of conversation as to whether that's going to happen. And over the weekend, the IOC released that they are looking into other options for the 2020 Olympics. One of those could be postponing the games. Now, they've said that they're not going to cancel it. They've got 4 weeks to make the exact decision as to what they are going to do. But two major countries have come out with their opinions. Australia have said that they haven't got the time or they can't assemble a team if it's going to be the 2020 Olympic Games. And Canada said no, they are absolutely out and they will not be competing if it goes ahead this year. So, Paige McKenzie, from a golfing perspective, what kind of an impact do you think this has? I know Olympics is bigger than golf, but what's your opinion?
Well, I'll give you an example of how it's impacting golf. Two of the biggest storylines as it relates to the Olympics this year was, can Inbee Park make the South Korean team and try to defend her gold medal from Rio? And can Tiger Woods try to make the Olympic team and get a medal that would kind of top off what is already an incredibly accomplished career? And both of those storylines are in danger of happening, minus the fact that they're not going to have the qualifying period ahead of the games in the way that we were expecting with all of the events that would have counted towards world ranking points. And I think that goes to why it's impacted the other sports in other countries as well, Robert, is because they're not going to be able to host trials because of the social distancing. So there's a lot of impacts across the board, but specifically with golf, we're seeing it as well.
There's no doubt. Every sport has its own set of qualifications and areas with which they have to qualify and how close each other's getting in different sports. Golf, we do have the ability to get out and kind of be by ourselves and have some social distance, as it were. That's the new phrase nowadays we're all getting used to. But as far as being tournament ready, I think these guys are going to be pretty okay. Like you said, the qualifying, I mean, I guess it may just shut down now if that's the way it looks at this moment, because with no tournaments, there's going to be no room to move around the official world golf ranking. So the teams may, and I'm just saying may be set as it is. But we've seen on social media, Ricky Fowler and Justin Thomas playing golf together. Ricky shot 60 and just drummed 65 from Justin Thomas. Brooks and DJ are hitting balls left-handed, both almost getting to about 300 yards. That's kind of crazy. I can't get a ball off the tee left-handed, but really right now it's the uncertainty of what's going on. Am I going to be ready for tournament ABC? Am I going to be ready for the Olympics? Is that going to be our jump-off point? That's the thing that we're all, not just golfers, everyone really in the world is dealing with right now, the uncertainty of what's going to happen coming up.
Yeah, and Damon, as far as we know, the IOC have ruled out any possibility of the Olympic Games being cancelled. I know you've covered the Olympics, you've covered so many different sports. When we do get the Olympic Games up and running, just what kind of an impact could that have on golf and just the world across sport and in general?
I think it could be a wonderful moment should the Olympics go off, which we want them to do. I would compare, first of all, putting Olympics together is like nothing in sports. It's, you have all these mini cities around a city. It's the Olympic Village. It's the venues that need to be ready. It's the city, transportation, security. So you want everything to be in working order so that Olympics can run smoothly. The closest thing I can compare what we're dealing with now from a global perspective is 9/11. I was living in New York and New Yorkers were hurting, Americans were hurting, and sports played a really big part in bringing the country back together and giving people something to cheer for and to get behind. Derek Jeter and the Yankees. Jeter hits a big home run. The fan in the crowd he's Mr. November, and the country became Yankees fans. And Mike Piazza hit a big home run against the Braves at Shea Stadium. Liza Minnelli saying New York, New York, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house. So I think once the country and the world can get past this pandemic, the Olympics, and having people together from different parts of the world and countries together and athletes together side by side, it could be a really a teaching moment and a healing moment, I think, for all of us.
Yeah, I think very well said. The idea of the world coming together right now is pretty far-fetched, but when it does happen, it will be monumental. So as we said, the IOC have got 4 weeks to make that decision, so we'll keep you updated. But let's sort of just go a little bit broader as to where we are in the world of golf at the moment, because even though play has been suspended on the major tours, there is still some action on the mini tours. A two-time major champion, Anna Nordqvist, took home a title on the Cactus Tour last week, but she was very insistent that in this social distancing era, that precautions were definitely taken on the course. And that leads us to what the USGA recently announced. They've kind of given some clarity to these guidelines as to if we are to go out on the course, then just think about it. And these are the rules and the guidelines that they've put in place. Things like not touching the flagstick, not feeling pressure to hole out, or not feeling pressure to rake the bunker. Don't touch the bunker rake, or one person per cart, no high fives, just simple things like this. And the main thing is they've said for anyone who does play under these conditions, they will still be accepting those scores towards handicaps. So, Robert, I know for all of us that Damon said there, the Olympics is a sense of healing, but it is a way of escaping. And I'm sure we've all been out on the course recently. It gives us fresh air, exercise. It's a real something to get you out of the house. What do you make of these guidelines that they're suggesting?
I know the USGA is not going to make a move without really looking into every possible aspect. I'm kind of surprised, frankly, that they didn't just suspend the handicap right now, because a lot of courses, they're not putting out. A lot of courses, my home course included, have no rakes. So it's almost a local rule that we've made up. If you're in a footprint, you can kind of kick it out of there and get at least a decent lie in the bunker. You don't have to hit out a footprint where people aren't raking. Like I said, the social distancing, even that's a strange thing, because we're taught from their first round of golf, the first thing you do at the end of the round is take your hat off, shake the hand and hands of the people you're playing with. So that's all a little weird. But yeah, I'm surprised that because they make the rules, they adhere to the rules more than anyone else, that they could really allow handicapping to go on and have these scores count against your handicap when the rules are really just kind of up in the air right now, and people are doing anything they can to avoid physical contact and just going ahead and playing by their own set of rules. So it surprises me a little bit, but like I said, I don't doubt that they didn't put their homework into it, Paige.
I for one love it. I think it's great. And there's a little fudging of what our standard rules in this. The holing out obviously is a big one. But the reality is they're becoming nimble to the situation that we have at hand. And the other thing that's important to consider is that, you play golf multiple times a week or multiple times a month. There's plenty of Americans out here that don't. They play 5 or 6 times a year. Now they're given the opportunity to be able to go out and still have those few times they play count towards a handicap. And they're not wasting those rounds as far as it's counting towards their handicap. So I think it's great. I thought it was very proactive for them to come out and say that they would still be accepting handicaps, because let's be honest, most of the people that we playing would probably be posting those scores anyway.
No doubt. And I actually may have a chance to break 80 now that I don't have to hole everything out.
You still count the last one.
Exactly.
No.
But on a serious note, guys, I mean, the USGA is in the business of golfers, and they don't want people, me and you, putting our clubs down and not playing and not having fun and being outdoors. And in this time of this COVID-19 and social distancing, people do want to get outside. And I love what the USGA is doing. Not just that, they also released a video this past week, about a 2-minute video, and it shows, Annika with her foundation kids and an old picture of Tiger with his dad, and Gary Woodland, highlights winning the US Open at Pebble, and, kind of inspirational music. I mean, this is about keeping people in touch with the game during a time when a lot of us are going stir crazy. And I appreciate the USGA taking the lead, trying to get people outside in as safe a way as possible. And I'll tell you what, when you do get outside, man, maybe it's because I'm not looking at my phone so much, but the sky is so beautiful, and the trees and the birds, everything's a little, crisper. The sky, the trees, the rivers, the colors of the outside world are more vivid now than I remember before this pandemic.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, we played in our club championship over the weekend, and that was something that I was really questioning whether socially it was the right thing to do. But golf is different to other sports. There are ways to play 18 holes without coming within 6 feet of someone. And for me, golf more than ever has become a way of escaping and not thinking about what the next few months are going to bring, and staying in the present, getting some exercise. And with the club championship, they were really cautious, really careful to impose these guidelines and not for anyone to feel pressured into doing something that they wouldn't do. There was no social gatherings in the clubhouse afterwards. The bar's been shut down. It was literally in, out golf. And it just gives you kind of 3-4 hours to kind of switch your mind off of what's going on. So I think for many people, golf could be a bit of a savior right now in a world that couldn't be further from normal. So that's where we are around the world of golf at the moment. I'm delighted that Morning Drive is back in some capacity every day for the foreseeable future until we get back into Studio AP. It's great to see all your faces, and we hope you're all staying safe back at home. And you can keep up to date with all of the action here on Morning Drive, all of the news. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got Instagram, we've got Twitter. So we'll hopefully see you there over the coming days, and take care.